What is decorum? I don't know if I spoke on this one in enough detail, but as men in today's era, there's only one thing that really matters when you step out into the world is the way you're presented, how the world sees you, how you're understood. And it's come to me to really understand that a lot of these young brothers don't understand what proper decorum, etiquette. To carry yourself like a true man is to have a certain aura about yourself, something that can't be tainted or broken. Someone can't just rob you of your essence because they can misjudge or prejudge you based on your decorum. Now, as far as black men now, we can't afford to have anything less than decorum that is stellar. But as we see, the younger generation is starting to lose a taste or a touch with what we were taught by the elders. Carry yourself as a man of respect, and respect you receive. Unfortunately now, that seems to be a thing of the past. When I was younger, I was always considered a quiet kid. I always had things going on in my mind, the gears were always turning. I couldn't really afford to be a clown. Even though I was blessed with a sharp sense of humor and wit, I never tried to abuse it. And even in my younger days, I did have problems with controlling my mouth. I wanted to entertain people a little too much. I wanted to be the class clown all the time. Even though I had the intelligence to keep up with most of the kids in the honor roll, I felt like being a jester was the best way to express who I was. But even though I had a talent for making people laugh, and I always seemed to be a guy that had a quick wit, it always sent me to the bottom of the barrel. I found myself in detention, in school suspension, even in one stint almost being on the verge of going to special education because they used to think I had something wrong with me because I didn't know how to shut the fuck up. Now, as an older man, I embrace my ability to love the silence, to love the mystery that comes with people really not knowing what's on your mind, and how beneficial it is for you as a man to always have that mystery. Now, in public decorum, as we see the young youth, the young teenagers, the young kids, they're now into this trend of destroying things. Running out into public, robbing stores, robbing gas stations, robbing, just gatherings and causing nothing but pure violence and chaos. Now, was there chaotic events when I was younger? Of course. But we never went out there preemptively planning to destroy something. I could never see myself defacing someone's property, breaking a car window for no reason, destroying someone's food cart, harassing strangers, running in the store and tearing things up and running out, recording it at that. There's so many layers to this where we have to wonder, where do these kids get this mindset from? Where did they get this nature where they feel like something like this is cool? It's quite concerning. As a young man, I was always fearful of consequences. It seems like today's generation feels like consequences are just an ideal. They're not real. Violence isn't real. The police aren't real. Bullets don't kill. See, as a man, you understand with decorum that you are trying to protect yourself. The first law of nature, self-preservation. You do understand that even the smallest little instance of a conflict can turn fatal for a man. It can easily turn into a fight, a stabbing, guns. And even we know just a simple fight can also be fatal. With the average man and his strength, you get dropped on your head, you get choked. You get dropped on your head, you get choked. Something terrible can happen. You can really feel the wrath of another man physically, especially if you're not paying attention and you're not, You're drunk, you're out of your mind. Even in my last live stream, I spoke on the dangers of men going out into the world intoxicated, inebriated, off their kilter, not being in the right state of mind. See, things like this can easily destroy a man's whole well-being, easily. I'm talking about instantaneously. One decision can ruin a lifetime of hard work. And in this conversation about manhood, this conversation that's been going on for the last maybe 5 to 10 years about what it is and what it means to be a man, there's so many factors. But I really think that a being that has true self-control over himself can call himself a man. I think he's earned that title. These emotional wrecks that you see out here, these emotional psycho simps and thugs and wild Valkyries and hood rats that cause violence and dismay, who can't keep them hands to themselves, can't keep the gun on their waist or the gun at home at that. This new breed of the nigga gene that we've been fighting off this virus for I can't remember how long. This new group can't seem to keep their emotions in check. The slightest inkling of disrespect, someone has to die, blood needs to be shed. Nobody cares about the outcomes. A lot of young men I can't see even transitioning into the professional field or the academic field just by what I see. If you're the type of young man that's going to run into a department store with bags 20, 30 deep and tear up the store and run out with clothes and sneakers, I don't see you having much success outside of the world of chaos in your nigger kingdom that your mothers have created. You'll reign as a prince. You have all the benefits, all the women, all the concubines you can have, but you will reign in hell. You'll be the prince of squalor, the young princess of squalor, to follow up on the throne that your mother created, that she's heralded as her own most beautiful creation outside of you. This mass trash heap of failure that has become the black community. And all of its dismay, all of its failure, all of its death, of all ages, all of its confusion, all of its victimhood thinking will keep you reigning there for decades. You have all the power, all the say-so. Once your mother maybe gives you the reins, because I don't really think they want to give up the reins. I think they want to run it into the ground until they're in the ground. Personally, I don't think that any man, I don't think that even the next generation is going to have dibs on what she's created. I think she's going to hold it until she can't hold it anymore. That's her only claim to fame. The one thing of beauty in her eyes that she's created was the black community. She's rendered the minds of these young people incapable of surviving. If you have any sense, you can easily see that most of these young people don't have the tools that we were bestowed, blessed with, to get us to this stage. And that's why the new theme is save yourself. Because a lot of you young men are trying to save these young monsters. And I used to believe the same thing. I worked in youth council and I worked with kids who dealt with trauma and criminal backgrounds. And I'll tell you one thing I always remember: no matter how hard we worked on one of these young men, how much we got them to get their grades up and change their behavior and have a positive outlook and want to start doing better because we motivated them and they respected us and they wanted to look up. They looked up to us, young men that worked in these facilities. I've seen young boys do a complete turnaround and work themselves up until they were to get a home visit for the weekend or have their parents come visit. And you would see them go home and come back totally ruined. Just one weekend in their mother's arms literally ruined these boys, sent them back 20 steps. One visit from their mother, one foul remark from their mother. She'll break these boys' confidence in a moment. All the confidence that we build up over the last month or two, she would destroy it with a look, with not showing up to a visit, finding some reason to yell at her child for nothing. I saw this all the time. We used to dread when these kids had their visits, because we would believe that the mom would literally ruin everything that we built. These boys would go home. I'm talking about, they would get 3-4 days at home and come back, and some of them would not come back. Some of them would commit crimes. They would go home and rob people, fight. That quick. As soon as they got in them under their mother's watch, they lost it all. So you can't tell me this isn't under her watch, because there are men who did not birth these children with you that have taken the opportunity to try to save these boys' souls, save these boys' lives somehow. And yet, when they are out of these men's presence, they're ruined. She's not built for this. This isn't her world. Saving children has never been her strong point. It's never been something she cared about. She destroys children. She ruins boys, ruins their minds, corrupts their hearts. A lot of these young boys are raised by some of the worst women. You know, they come home and their mother has a new boyfriend. Every time they see her, they're catching their mother having sex and hearing her have sex. And some of their moms are selling box, and I'm talking about the real situation. Some of their moms is playing games with their fathers, and they get to watch that, the mother using their father for the money and not giving it to the boy. These boys see these type of things, and these type of things ruin their outlook, especially if they knew their father and had respect for him. They would literally lose that respect, or they would be fearful of the outcome. If she can do that to him, imagine what she could do to me. Imagine what is going to happen to me if I can't even conquer this woman that rules me. How am I going to survive? How will I make it? So something like decorum, character, self-respect, reflection, the key elements that enable a man to navigate this terrain we call this life. The tools, the failure we had to go through just to get to this point where we could at least survive. Breathe a bit. Have a little bit of peace. Just a little bit. The things we had to do to just get our hands on a little bit of happiness. It's almost insane to think that there's a way that these young men can even mimic that come up, that background. We're the last of a dying breed. We're the last of a generation. And it's easy for someone to look at this and say, oh, well, these kids aren't guided the right way. Of course they aren't. Oh, they just need something to do. And I think it's something deeper. It's something metaphysical. It's something on the spiritual level that these kids are devoid of. There's no God in the house. There's no fear of the Most High. There's no fear of anything. The mother has been in open rebellion against the Most High for the last 30, 40 years. Her kids are borderline atheists at this point. She's raising a generation of godless children who have no fear of God, no gratitude, no respect for what has been created before them, the world that they're blessed to exist in, regardless of what you think is hard or rough. You still got to exist, man. Yeah, your projects is rough. Yeah, your projects is rough. I get that. I can understand that part. But what about the rest of the world that you have no desire to want to be a part of? You believe this is the end all be all. You believe this is where you're going to live and die. You're like Tupac. You're going to live and die in LA, and Compton, and Chicago, and St. Louis, and Kansas City, and Detroit, and Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta, and New York. In the worst slums, you feel like you're going to live and die there. You truly believe that there's nothing out there for you. And the only reason you believe that is because you've been taught a lie. Someone told you that this was life, this was the end game, this was survival. But unfortunately, young man and young woman, once the world gets its hands around you, and even the older men I'm talking to, if you haven't understood how to keep your decorum serious, this is something you have to tell grown men nowadays. You see young grown men out there playing TikTok games and doing stupid bullshit to be on social media. These are grown men. People are willing to embarrass themselves for a couple of clicks and likes, forgetting all about decorum, carrying yourself properly. You see these same people go to other countries, get put in cuffs, violated, because these countries are based on decorum, carrying yourself with some sort of respect, some dignity about yourself. That's what my mother used to tell me, my grandmother especially. When I would go outside and my shirt was wrinkled, or my clothes, my sneakers were untied, or shoes were dirty, or if I didn't get a haircut, if I was, I wasn't clean, I didn't take a shower or something. Have some self-respect about yourself. Have some respect about yours. Go in there and iron your pants. Do your laundry. Clean yourself up. Don't walk out into the world some smelly bum. You get up as a kid and you just want to go play basketball and you just jump up and throw in your shorts and try to run outside. Hey. Go in there and wash up, man. Your friends ain't going nowhere. Don't wear them smelly ass shorts you wore yesterday. Don't go to school like that. Zip your fly up. Pull your pants up. Button your shirt. Fix your buttons. Brush your hair, man. Comb your hair. Put some lotion on. Put some deodorant on. You couldn't even walk out the door if you wasn't correct. If you was on some rah-rah shit, you remember that? You couldn't even go with your mother some places. You couldn't even go with your parents into the store if you was on some rah-rah shit. You wasn't even allowed to get in the place to cause a problem. They wasn't going to let you do that. You wasn't going to just walk in there and cause a bunch of bullshit to happen. You know what I'm saying? That was not going to happen. I don't even see how these kids even make it these days with this type of mentality. This was what saved us. This is what salvaged us. It seemed harsh. It seemed unfair when you were young. If I came in the room and my clothes were out the laundry and I didn't fold everything and put it in a drawer nice, we were taught to respect our shit. It starts at home. Of course you're going to destroy a store, destroy a department store in your neighborhood, running the gas station in the neighborhood that probably your parents used to get gas in the morning and go to work. You're going to destroy it because nobody told you to respect yours. Respect what's yours. I couldn't even throw my clothes in the drawer. She would come in there and throw it all back on the floor. Fold your clothes neatly and put them in the drawer. Don't just throw your shit around. It's yours. It's yours. Respect what's yours. Clean up shit. Don't destroy it. Keep everything respectable. This was something that wasn't even hard to explain back in the day. You didn't want to go nowhere with your shit fucked up. If you got clothes, take care of yours, man. Don't just feel like you gotta violate everything, destroy everything. Because at the end of the day, you gotta live there. You gotta shop there. Now you might go to the other neighborhood and cause some problems, but guess what? You can ruin it for someone else, but you're only ruining it for yourself. At a certain point. And the only thing that isn't fair when another brother walks down the street, he's minding his business, and he is exercising decorum and self-respect, someone might look at him and think he's you. They might think he's trash because you are trash. These niggas carry themselves like garbage. Human garbage. So why would someone look at that and see you, that maybe you might have a similar style of dress, a certain way you talk and walk, and now you're considered one of these dirt bags? Now they look at you as one of these pieces of shit, and you didn't do anything. And they wonder why thinking men are saying, save yourself. Get as far away from it as possible. Get as far away from it as possible. Don't even stay close to it. Don't be around it. Get away from it as much as you can. Because at the end of the day, we'll leave you and your mother in her kingdom of degeneracy. And you can rule it for as long as you want. You can have everything and all that you desire in there. And when everything comes crumbling down, and you're looking for somebody with some sense to come save you, they won't be there. And you can be bitter all you want. You can be mad at your conditions and blame the white man and say what you want about what is going on with your community. But remember, when men were trying to help, when men were trying to teach, when men were trying to reach out and give you something that you can carry into the next stage of your life, and maybe you would actually have a chance, you spit in their faces. You listen to your mothers. You listen to her lies about those men. And you never looked at your mother and realized she was the reason. Some of these men even fought for you in silence, in secret, because she never told you how much these men fought for you and tried to be in your lives. And she made it so difficult that that man had to choose his own sanity over his child. Some of you young kids can look in records and see that there's been child support sent to you since you were a baby that you never saw a dime of, or you never knew was yours. And then you're mad at your father because when you were ready to go to college, if you made it that far, you didn't have money to pay for school. Why is that? Who was spending the money that could have been put towards your college education? You were destined to inherit dust. You were given dust as your inheritance. That's what your mother set aside for you. Nothing. So now you feel the need to go out and ruin people's places of business for your viral moments, or just to have something new because you choose to be a bum. Instead of working for yours, because you never seen your mother actually work, did you? A lot of you had your mothers growing up on support and government assistance, and you don't really know what it's like to make or earn a hard dollar. All you want is fast money, short money. The money that comes and goes, that you flash now and then you're lost. It's gone later. There's no consistency. You have no work ethic. You weren't taught that. Because a lot of the hardworking men who had some value got the fuck away from you and your mother. And the mothers of the neighborhood, and children like you. And men like you who don't carry themselves with any self-respect. And you chose to call them coons, sellouts, whatever you like. It's your choice. But remember, when you turn around and that bridge you burned is gone, there's no turning back. There's no saving it. There's no resurrecting this renaissance that you pro-blacks keep talking about that's going to come back with black people reliving some beautiful period when they were just flourishing. Those days are long gone. Forever gone. Because there's no builders. All the builders have left. All the thinkers have left. All the minds, all the strength, all the righteousness has left in the hearts of these men. And unfortunately, you are left to figure it out on your own. And when you look back at your mother and her choices, I hope that one day you wake up and realize she's created the world that you exist in. She's created the paradigms that you suffer from, the mental ideologies that continue to shackle you and ruin you before you even begin. And when that day comes, you better not go blaming thinking men. Blame yourself. Once again, it's a Thinking Man's Templar where we say one free life far outweighs a million lives in captivity, and when the soldiers coming from the war remove their armor, drop their swords, and have conversations with like-minded men. And indeed, gentlemen, once again, I am at your service, dispelling the lies, bringing forth the truth in this modern-day war we call reality. Cover your six.